Okay, that's the category mistake. You've got all stuff that fits in one category. You've got the colleges, the big fancy library, the museum. You've got that stuff. And then you've got the university. It's a mistake to think that the university is in this same category, that it just gets listed along with all of these things. No, no, no. The university is in a different category. The university goes down here because the university is just sort of like a collection of these things arranged and interacting in a certain way. That's the category mistake. It's taking something that fits in a different category and mistakenly lumping it up here in this category. That's the category mistake. You shouldn't do that. And Ryle is going to claim that Descartes is making that same kind of mistake when it comes to the mind. Right? So you've got all of the stuff that the body does. You've got all of the physical interactions and the movements of the body and the movements of the eyebrows and all these things that are happening in the physical world. The mistake that Descartes is making, according to Ryle, is thinking that the mind and mental events like memories and hopes and desires and anger and fear and love and happiness, all of these things in the mind, the mistake is to think that those things are just more stuff in addition to and in the same logical category as, hands and feet and noses and the movement of your eyes and all that sort of stuff. No, 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 Ryle thinks. Mental stuff is just a certain way of thinking about physical stuff, certain arrangements of physical stuff, interacting and moving in certain ways. That's all that mental activity is. Here's what Ryle says in the third section of this paper. This is on page 36, about the category mistake that the dualist is making. Minds are things, but different sorts of things from bodies. Mental processes are causes and effects, but different sorts of causes and effects from bodily movements. That's the mistake. The mistake is thinking that the mind is just more stuff, more things that causally interact with other things. No, 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 no. It's not just more but slightly different stuff. It's a way of arranging the first kind of stuff. And so on. Somewhat as the foreigner expected the university to be an extra edifice, rather like a college, but also considerably different. So the repudiators of mechanism are the dualists, right? The dualists think that everything is mechanical or physical, and so the repudiators of that are the dualists, the adherents of the official doctrine, Descartes. So the repudiators of mechanism represented minds as extra centers of causal processes, rather like machines, but also considerably different from them. Their theory was a paramechanical hypothesis. Paramechanical means sort of mechanical, right? Like paramilitary means not the military, but like sort of like the military, like they dress like the military, but they're not really in the military. That's paramilitary. Paramechanical means sort of mechanical, but not exactly. Ryle is saying that Descartes' mistake is of thinking of the mind as another kind of thing, like the physical body, just not physical. That's the mistake, putting the mind in the same general category as all of the physical stuff. Instead, it's in its own category. It's just a way that physical stuff is arranged. Let me just end by reading one more sentence from the Ryle reading. This is on page 38. The belief that there is a polar opposition between mind and matter is the belief that they are terms of the same logical type. The idea there is that, look, according to the dualist, mind and body are sort of opposed with one another. They're two different sort of competing things. They have different characteristics. They're understood in contrast to one another, right? If you think of the mind and the body in this way, the reason that you think of them in that way is because you're putting them in the same broad category. Like the visitor at the university who thought that the university was some other thing, separate from and opposed to, in a certain way, the colleges and the library and the museum, that person only thought that because they put the university up in the same logical category as the colleges and the library and the museum. That's the mistake. That's a category mistake. And Ryle thinks that Descartes is making a category mistake.